In this video, we'll learn about arrow functions, a modern and concise way to write functions in JavaScript. Arrow functions make your code shorter and more readable, especially when working with callbacks and higher order functions. Let's just start with the basic syntax of arrow functions. Instead of the function keyword, we use an arrow, an equal sign followed by greater than sign. Here's an example of it. You can see that I have a function that calculates the average of two numbers. We have parameters in parentheses. This is somewhat similar to what we had before, but we don't have a function keyword behind it. Instead, we follow the parameters with the arrow, the equal sign and greater sign, and then we open curly bracket to have the body of the function. You would call this function just as you would call any other function expression. So use this variable, mean in this case, to call it. Arrow functions can get even more concise when you have just a single expression. So let us take a look at this example here again. My mean function, if I only have one expression that I return, so look at the original up in here. So I have a return, and then this is the only thing that I return. There's no other statements in the body of the function. I can eliminate the use of the curly brackets. I can also eliminate the use of the return keyword. And so I end up with this very concise way of writing my function. Now you got to be careful that if you want to return objects, you have to wrap them up in parentheses, because otherwise the JavaScript is going to get confused that whether you wanted to use the curly bracket as a way of representing an object or as a way of representing the body of your function. All right, now if you are in a situation that you have just a single parameter, you don't even need to use parentheses for a single parameter. So for example, consider this case. If I have just one parameter, I can remove the parentheses and this will still work. So this makes it even more concise. But you got to be careful that if you have more than one parameter, or if you have no parameters, you must use parentheses. Let us also see an example of using arrow functions as a callback with higher order functions. So earlier I showed you how you can use anonymous function to pass it to the filter operator of numbers. To recall how this looked like, it was like function, and you would do like this, return, so, and this itself is an improvement over declaring this function outside, like saying that this is even, and then pass is even to the filter function. So this works, right? This works. It helps us to filter out all the odd values, but we can go and try to make this more concise. So first thing is you take this and you just define it where it is being used. Then you can take the name out, make it anonymous function. Then you can take the function keyword out and turn this into an arrow function. Since it just returns this expression, you can take the curly bracket out, you can take the return statement out, and you can take the other curly bracket out, as well as the semicolon. Now you can even take the parentheses around the argument out, because it's just one argument. So you end up with this statement. It still works, right? And but this is a lot shorter and perhaps more readable. It's a very concise way of defining functions in place, exactly where you need them. So we got to be careful with the differences between arrow functions and regular functions. Arrow functions do not have argument object that captures all of their parameters. They don't have this binding, which is something that we're going to be covered later. And they cannot be used as constructors for objects, which again is something that we're going to be covering later when we talk about object-oriented programming. All right, so in this video, we learned how to write arrow functions with their concise, streamlined syntax. Use the arrow instead of the function keyword, omit braces and return for single expressions, and adjust parentheses based on parameter count. Arrow functions are perfect for callbacks and are now the preferred way to write short functions in modern JavaScript.